been down to the shop and I've bought myself a range of different chocolates. Now, the reason why I've bought chocolate is because chocolate, like cannabis, is about a balance of two main key ingredients: milk and cocoa. And the ratio between the milk and the cocoa really changes fundamentally the experience that we get from the chocolate itself. And on one end of the spectrum, we've got white chocolate, and it goes all the way up to dark chocolate, starting with white chocolate. So we've got our white chocolate there. Now, the white chocolate is more comparative to the kind of CBD oil products. We've got a typical milk chocolate product, which has got a cocoa content of about 30%, and it's got about 20% milk. So milk chocolate has got that combination that Dr. Bevington was talking about, in terms of where there would be a CBD to THC relationship that was there or thereabouts. So this is the kind of thing that would have been about and on the streets maybe about 20 years ago in the UK. And the dark chocolate products, we start with this one over here. Now, this dark chocolate product has cocoa content of 47%, and a milk content of about 15%. So we're looking at a 3-to-1 ratio there. Now, this would be equivalent to the stronger THC content starting to come into the market in the mid-2000s. So the final type of chocolate that I've got on this spectrum for us is a very dark form of chocolate. It's 85% cocoa, so where the cocoa in this was trace, the milk in this is now more like trace. So we're talking 1 or 2% in terms of the milk content. So the ratio of cocoa to milk in there, we're talking like 42-to-1, something like that. So again, if we go back to what Gavin Guy was talking to us about when we spoke to him, this is equivalent to what we're recovering now out on the streets in the UK. That ratio having gone up through time all the way to the point where the CBD is either falling or not changing, but the THC levels getting much, much higher. When I sit down and talk to you in terms of chocolate, of course, when I go down to the shops, I've got this nutritional information. It's all printed on the back of the packet. I can go in and I can say exactly what it is that I want. I can be very specific about the consistency of what I'm consuming and also about the conditions under which it was produced. Now, with cannabis, it would be absolutely impossible for me, realistically, in the UK to sit down and put on the table 4 different types of cannabis and say with confidence, this is the full spectrum and this is what it's got in it. We can go down to the shop and we can get ourselves some CBD oil, and we're fairly confident about what's inside that. We also know if the police are seizing from people selling on the street, that we're likely to get this, somewhere between this and this. But generally speaking, the stuff that we're seizing off the street is this, and generally speaking, it's getting stronger. What isn't out there, generally speaking again, is this. Now, the reputation that cannabis has got as a drug is that it's in the range of these things here, okay, somewhere around here. This is what people expect cannabis to be, okay, and what Dr. Bevington and what Gavin Guy from the police have been telling us is that actually what they're getting is this. Now, the fact is, all of this is regarded as cannabis with minor deviations. And there are certain terms for stronger strains of cannabis, like skunk, for example. But generally speaking, as Gav said himself, anything that's over 12% THC is generally regarded to be skunk anyway. And it's quite unusual for anybody out there in the law enforcement community to seize anything that's got a lower THC content than 12% these days. I've actually reached out to a medical producer of cannabis. So the company's name is Bedrocan. And I thought it was interesting actually to talk to them about, one, the standards under which they produce their cannabis, and two, what do they lay claim to? They're held and they're regulated to standards by the European Union. So what can they actually say that their product does?